Hello, everyone. This is JD Color. This is Indie Comics Explained, and yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And this dude somehow made it into this room. I don't know how he did it. He somehow found his way back. I don't even know why I let him in, but damn it, here he is.
What's up, kid? Feeling crispy tonight, brother? What's doing? I'm back. You miss me?
You're back.
You miss me?
Of course we missed you. Of course we missed you.
Yes, we're loving it. We're loving it. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back, hanging out with everybody, talking about comic books, talking about how we put them together, how we sell them, how we go crazy, keeping that all together at the same time, right? And I'm sure some of the other people that you brought on tonight have felt those very same things, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's bring on the co-host from his back alley.
How's it going, everybody? Marcus McNeal taking a break from selling crack to Hutchison comics out here.
What the
What you do in back alleys? There's only two things you do in back alleys, and the second one, that ain't me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought meth was in the thing now, so I don't know.
Sometimes you make more doing the other thing. I'm just saying, sometimes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it all depends on your market. YMMV for sure.
Yes.
But I am editor-in-chief of Odyssey Comics, here again as co-host this fine panel. Mr. JD, good to see you again. Hope you had a great time at all the events you've been doing, and good to see you back on the show.
Yep.
Thanks, baby.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Rafael? Please introduce yourself.
Rafael Madrigal, A Treaty in Justice and Sort of Justice Nights, getting published by Starcross Comics.
Way to be.
Yeah.
And the recurring chant.
The trivia champ that scared everybody away, and won't do trivia anymore.
They don't want to come back for trivia, bro.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm sending you my bill for $25, Rosario, because your Jets are ass.
Oh my
Get
God,
that stuff
bro.
out of here.
Bro.
Out of here. You killed
I
my
am
parlay with that menace of a team that you have in that freaking city.
God. Oh my God! You see, I'm not wearing a Jets hat tonight, right? Yeah, I was wearing it all day. And the sweater. And then 4:30, if I could have thrown it into a fire here in New York, but fires.
So you traded it out for a Last Jedi shirt? That's the trade out?
Yeah.
Went from the Jets to the Last Jedi?
Because if we're gonna fail, with something
equal amounts of trash.
Put it back on. I have some pride, man.
Nah, man.
Win or lose, baby. Win or lose.
Oh man, it's bad. It's bad over here.
Hey guys.
What's up, Grant?
Hey,
Please
Grant.
How you doing? Oh, League of Cryptids on Kickstarter right now. Issue number 2. We have about a little over a week, and we have about $700 to go.
Cool.
It's going to be a close one.
Okay.
Nice. You're gonna make it. And we got Jack.
What's up, everyone?
+1.
Jack.
The real star of the show, Stephanie, but also
Hey, Stephanie.
Steelers win today.
Yeah.
Gotta represent. Got a Kickstarter going on for a fantasy comic, Legends of the Realm. Got about 1,000 to go.
Nice.
All right, very nice. All right, gentlemen. So let's do the show question, as we all know, right? So, it's a pretty basic question. There's stuff going on in the industry, there's stuff going on in the marketplace, stuff's a little crazy right now. So the show question is, what are you doing to counteract the changing markets that are going on around us in indie comics, right? So what are you doing currently to try to counteract positive, negative, whatever, however you're working and dealing with it, what are you doing to try to fight these forces? Jack, you're in the hot seat.
Okay, here's the weird response to that one. To counteract it, I'm paying my artists on time. I hear way too many stories, and especially with the rise of AI. When you're an indie comics writer, the best way to set yourself apart from not other indie writers, but just the industry. Say, hey, you're going to get paid when we say you're going to get paid. You give us amazing art, we're going to give you money. Oh,
Somebody
no, I
disagrees
promise
with
we
that.
are.
Somebody has
We
a
are.
comment about the amazing art. Somebody.
Yeah.
She doesn't
That
want
was a
nobody to
trigger
get paid
word for
on
her.
time. She's gonna be a tough boss.
Oh.
And if she don't want it, and she's
She
fighting.
don't want it. She doesn't want it, but she doesn't not want it.
Right.
Move on.
Rafael, what are your thoughts?
Man, I'm the newest guy to this group, man. And I've been dealing with just we got funded, thank God, within 23 hours. But I'm real lucky, man. I got a lot of good followers. I got other friends from where I work at, especially the sheriff's office here in South Texas. So we're at 3,000 right now. We're way past our to get funded. But I've been promoting a lot, man. I'm on all the socials, trying to get on everybody. You told me, Jay, you told me harass everybody. Last time we talked, you said harass everybody. And that's what I've been doing the last year and a half, man, just bothering the crap out of everybody, man. And Lonzo Starr from Concrete told me, and put your stuff on socials as much as you can. And so somebody says, hey, man, who is that guy? Who is a Trading Injustice? And so far it's worked with the grace of God, man. We're doing well. We're at a third rewards tier. So we got 14 more days to go with the grace of God,
All right. Good. Congratulations. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Well, there's definitions that are sort of required to what we're talking about here. You know, what is the market? What is the industry? You know, how does any of that umbrella even affect any of us? But I think that ultimately the key to all of it is just working within yourself and within you, what you're doing. You know, it's the old saying. I'm just going to paraphrase it. Is basically you can only control what you can control. So, you know, if you're going to look at the industry and be like, well, retail stores are struggling. Well, I can't help that. There's nothing that I can do to help a retail store. I'm sorry. That's just the reality. I mean, yes, I can do appearances and I can try and be like, hey, I'm going to be at this store and whatever. But ultimately, that doesn't affect their sales on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis, any of that kind of stuff. So creators, particularly at our level and the things that we're doing, we have to be able to just say, look, we're being consistent within our bubble, under our own umbrella, with our own, you know, specific connections to our fan bases and our buyers and all that kind of stuff. You know, there's always shifting things within creative spaces, you know, whether it's, you know, zombies are hot this year and vampires are hot next year, and you can chase trends and do all that kind of stuff if you want. But most of the time that'll just lead you to a dead end because you'll just be waiting for the next trend. So again, that just comes back to doing what you want to do, because if you're doing what you want to do, that will translate when you're trying to sell it to somebody. You know, you can't, it's much easier to be like, dude, I made this book because I love kaiju and I did this and that and whatever, versus, well, you know, zombies are really hot right now, so I made this zombie book. It's like there's no love of zombies in that regard, and people can sniff that out immediately, that you're just running for the money. So I think that the best thing that I could say is, again, just focus on your bubble, whatever your bubble is. Make that as tight and efficient as possible. And if the retail side of things struggles and falls, you have to make, you know, whatever changes you need to make to keep selling books. Crowdfunding is the Wild West right now. It is the single best, easiest way to raise money for whatever it is that you're doing. But you still have to, it's not really any different than, you know, anything else. You still have to market, advertise, find people to, you know, come to your crowdfunding, come to your website, come to your social media. and that's just consistency. That's all that is consistency. But what I would say in the terms of trying to attract people is your consistency can't simply be buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. That cannot be your
Right.
posting. When you have a campaign, certainly put it out there. Look, we have a campaign going. Do it. But you have to. I was on a podcast on Saturday, and I told people, like, you have to learn how to kind of almost sell yourself as much as you're selling whatever product it is that you're selling. Because if you can get people to be interested in you, and you can create a direct connection with people that are like, oh, Tom likes Jaws and I like Jaws too, so maybe I'll like what Tom writes. That's a good sort of icebreaker, to get people engaged with you as a creator, and then they can determine whether what you create is something for them. So again, it all just comes back to make your bubble the best it can possibly be. And there's the external forces that are crumbling things around you. There's not much if there is something you can do it, but chances are there isn't. So focus on you first.
All right.
On word, man. Yeah.
Grant, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess my thoughts are kind of the same. I'm humble enough to realize I'm not going to solve all of the comic book industry's problems by worrying about it. So, I mean, obviously, when I say don't worry about it, that's easier said than done. But I just keep on making the comic books that I want to make. I market them. I put them on Kickstarter. As far as pivoting away from retail and pivoting more into Kickstarter, I feel like that was my game plan anyways, because let's be honest, we haven't been making money through retail settings like we should be for a while now. Mm-hmm. So I guess my advice is just keep on doing what you're doing. I can't remember who said this, but I remember it was a comic book professional who'd been working in the field like decades. And he said, every year I've worked in the comic book industry, people have said, this is the year the comic book industry dies. So it's, to a certain degree, it does seem like we as comic book professionals do have kind of like, maybe we need to work on a sense of pessimism a little bit. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that things aren't bad right now, but I mean, who knows? It might be cyclical. I mean, bad times come and go,
All right. Fair enough. Marcus, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm kind of the mindset that if you're experiencing those things and you're having challenges, when it comes to the business side of things or publishing, whatever the case would be, don't be afraid to sort of slow down and also reset if necessary. That's been kind of the thing that I've been learning this year too, as I came in with some aggressive plans for like what I wanted to do, both personally and then with Odyssey too. And then whether it be a combinations of, economics, just time, health, whatever it is, maybe did 45, 50% of those things coming out. And for a while, I was beating myself up about that quite a bit and feeling like it was a bit of a disappointment. But, when I look at the grand scheme of things, it really wasn't, because some of the time that I used and while it was frustrating not being able to get some projects out and do some of the things I was planning to do, I started thinking about, okay, well, it's halfway through the year now. What does that look like for me? Where's the state of the industry right now? And more importantly, kind of what Tom and Grant was touching on, like, what do I want to do? And where do I want to sort of push things at? And I took time to think about that and got with, some other creators, some awesome talent that's like came into the fold and everything. And now I'm coming into 2025 with sort of like a renewed vigor a little bit, because now things are, I think, closer to the heart of where I want things to be, and also where I think maybe the industry and things like that are going a little bit. because we're all too small. If all of us combined together, we couldn't, like Tom said, we couldn't affect the outcome of a single shop. Like it's just not, that's not how things go. But in the independent space, what we do is innovate. The things that usually go to the mainstream and the trends that get set and things like that, it usually originates with us. And there's no way to determine who it's going to be. Like you don't know when, you know, the next Critter is going to hit and it's just going to blow up massive and become like the next big thing. You never know when the next Oswald Chronicles is going to hit and become it's lightning in a bottle every single time. And I don't think anybody who's had like, you know, something that's caught fire like that ever thought they had anything that's really caught fire to it. They were just trying to do something that they love and something they were passionate about. And people felt that and resonated with it. And at the end of the day, that's all it can do. But don't get caught up in the social media hype of feeling like if you're not doing something right now, you need to take a step back, that people are going to forget about you and the industry is going to go away. Or you have to be there all the time. If you're feeling burnt out, take time for yourself. If you're not feeling a project, hey, maybe drop it, come back to it a little bit later on, find something else that is giving you that avenue. If you're a writer and the writing isn't coming, move into editing. If you're an artist and the art ain't arting, find something else to do. It's like, I think so often we just have this cloud hanging over our heads as creators because we're in this phase of the game for us now where it seems like eyes on us all the time. Some people are looking for you to succeed. A lot of other people are looking for you to fail. And sometimes we can start feeling that pressure to do things. So then when we have those hard times that come up and things get difficult, it gets really deflating and really demotivating to do things. But you always got to bring it back to the center. You always got to follow the passion, follow your heart. And then let everything else shake out where it is. And that's really all you can do is keep your head above where everything else is going.
All right, cool. Jay, before you answer the question, who's that red guy in over your shoulder?
Oh, that's the Deadpool Venom thing that just came out like last week.
That's the one with his hands up like that.
Yeah.
I can barely see it, but it looks cool from a distance. All right, but anyway, what are your thoughts on the question?
Yeah, fuck if I know. You know, you could go back onto your show specifically a year and a half ago, and I was puffing up my chest. I had a plan. I was set up for a release every other month, going up into September of 2025. That went to shit quick, right? and like Mark said, you know, I had to go back and reevaluate. Calderon, you and I had a very long discussion the other day, right? And it's not chase the trends, but pick up on what is selling and move into more of that, focus more of that, right? Tom, you were saying the same thing on Friday night. Sometimes though, the stuff that's selling is not the stuff you really want to do. So you gotta try to balance your ego with what's going to keep the lights on for your business. That's the smart play. I'm not the smart guy, right? I am counteracting what's going on in the market by trying to plant my flag in a totally different market right now. And wow, am I shitting the bed on that? So if there's anything I can be known for, is shitting the bed in comics and shitting the bed in toys, right? I got two big black spots on that, but I'm riding that wave, baby. I'm riding that wave until it crashes, and I'm having fun doing it. And I'm listening to the people that are being constructive, right? I'm listening to the people that have rode that wave before, whether they got off of it successfully or it crashed on them. And I am taking that information and applying it where I can. And when the ego doesn't get in the way of applying it, right? But like Marcus said, there are other people who are not doing this, who have not ridden this wave, and will try to give you advice when it's not their money invested in what you are trying to do,
Right.
and using the guise of, "Oh, I'm only looking out for you. Oh, I'm only trying to protect you." Yeah, but you don't know how much I put into this, how much of a foundation I built to get to this point. So you cannot make these decisions for me. You cannot expect me to follow your advice, right? When you don't know what the market is at all, right? None of us know what the market is. let's be honest. The comic book market, the main distribution market, the direct market, is held together by toothpicks. I mean, and if we were all smart, none of us would have chosen this industry to be what is either making us money or putting a twinkle in our eye, right? So to actually look at market trends when the main industry can't look at market trends is kind of difficult. So going to what Tom and Grant and Marcus and some of the, you guys have said, it's do what you want to do. Tell the story you want to tell. Enjoy it. Eventually the market will come around and you can have your stuff ready for it when the trend hits, right? And you won't look like a shill trying to pitch, the gimmick of the month, right? You don't have to be the next Beanie Baby, whatever the thing is for comics. Just do what you want to do, man.
Furbies.
Furbies.
Furbies. Be the next Furby. There you go. All right. For myself, I'll be honest with you. I'm not really doing anything. I'm hyper focused on just putting out the best books I can. That's my hyper focus.
That's
my
a good plan.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my plan. It's just hyper focusing on putting out the best books I can, finding new artists, working with new artists, and getting my stories done. And that's really important to me, is getting the work done. The rest of it is important, but you know what? You got to take it one day at a time, because in the end, it's like Tom said, and like everybody else has been saying, I don't have really any control over this marketplace. It's nuts. We don't know where we're going to be at a year from now. We don't know where we're going to be at 3 years from now. A boom might happen, and 500, 1,000 more shops might open up, and all of them might be indie friendly. Doubt it, but you never know, right? Because that sort of thing has occurred. I mean, it happened. It occurred in like the 80s, but it's been a while. But you never know. Yeah, and that's all.
Yeah, but we can't. This is super important. And I'm going to sound like as I always am, I'm the dick on these shows. But the reality is that none of us can look at the industry, the market, the retail store as anything viable to us as far as sales. It can only be looked at truly as a marketing expense. It's not to say you can't sell books there, any of that kind of stuff. Of course you can. But you're not going to make enough sales or money for it to be like some sort of highly profitable thing. So if you spend $3,000 to get books into stores, get that $3,000 back, you've created a marketing that you've paid and you've gotten money back and you've gotten eyeballs on your product. But there's too many people that still think that, hey, I'm going to find a publisher and they're going to put me in stores and I'm going to sell 10,000 units. No, it's not happening. It's not happening.
I mean,
okay.
Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
No, go. I mean, that's basically it. I just want to really really power that home, because there's way too many people that are coming into the space that they think that that 1980 and 1990 is still where we are, where you can find a publisher, they can put a book out and it'll sell so many units just because there's so many stores. The amount of stores is decreased. The amount of buyers at stores is decreased. Everything is decreased in that space, in that retail space. So as long as you understand you're going in to make a marketing splash and not a cash back business, because there's not going to be a lot of cash back, then you're okay. You're in the right mindset. But don't think that just, hey, I got a publisher, I'm going in with this guy and whatever. Unless it's Image that has greenlit you, then you have a little bit of a better advantage than some of the other folks. But
even a lot of Image creators are saying like they're not making enough money.
Oh, sure, 100%. Yeah.
Comic books. So I mean, if creators from Image are saying like we can't, we can't pay our rent with the money we're making off of our comic book, then what hope do we, like as the little guys, have?
Well, again, within that space,
Right.
because when you do it in the space of direct to customer, whether it's crowdfunding or your own website, eBay, whatever, if it's direct to customer, you're cutting out the chain that eats up all of the money. You know, when you're selling it to Diamond, you're selling it at a super discounted rate so that then they can sell it at a super discounted rate so that the retailer can make some sort of a profit on his end. But when you're selling directly to the customer, if you would have gotten $1 from Diamond, you might be able to get $10 directly from your customer. So that's where all of this sort of changes. The internet has changed that with all of the areas that we can sell stuff. Crowdfunding has changed that. And that's why I kind of tell everybody that, you know, you want to kind of start there, because even crowdfunding, even if you come in at a zero sum, I'm a new guy with a new book with nobody knows who the hell I am, and you go to Kickstarter, I'm not telling you you're going to make $5,000 off your first campaign, but there's an active user base that is there for that stuff. And they will at least be looking around and going, oh, what is that? I'm interested in what that is. So that gives you at least a little starter potential, rather than just saying, hey, I'm a new guy, I'm going into Diamond and trying to sell, you know, a couple thousand units and make money. You will be dead in 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, look, publishers are falling off. AWA, I think, is about to go out. Scout is having more issues again. You know, these publishers are just coming in and out, and like, it's crazy. So it is something that we got to be very, very wary of, you know, because it's like, in the end, who's going to be left? You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're looking to go that route and you're going to go yourself, I mean, Grant, you're in there now, right, with Comicsburg, and I know it's tough, right?
Yeah, I mean, by doing stuff like printing overseas and printing in bulk, and you know, you can make a little bit of a profit, but really, like Tom said, I view my Diamond sales as being what's the word, superfluous. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The real money is on Kickstarter. You can make some money through Diamond through trade paperbacks, but as far as individual comics are concerned, you're really going to be lucky to break even.
Yeah, and I think what Justin's saying there in the chat too, I don't know if you can put up what he said, but really he said it's about building a foundation, it's about building a base. That's what I scream to newer creators, and even some people who have done things quite a bit, because I've talked to a couple of people who have been lucky enough to sort of hit it off with doing their first book and getting it through Dark Horse or getting it through Image, and then seeing the results, and it's like, okay, well, what now? That wasn't really what I was hoping it would be, because you think you get in one of these big publishing houses, and then that's it. You're set. Like, you know, you're going to sell a bunch of books, you're going to make a bunch of money, or at the very least, become more of a known name. And then when that doesn't happen for people, it's like, oh, fuck. Like, their whole paradigm collapses because they don't know what to do from there, and they don't know how to shift. But like Tom said, the benefit of everything that we have going on today is that you can build your base, whether it's through Kickstarter, whether you're there like doing digital stuff like Global Comics or Webtoons or stuff like that. You can build things grassroots from the ground up of people who are there not because your book has an eye or a horse or a Marvel Comics DC logo stamped on it, because they're there for you and you're marketing yourself and the things that you're interested in. It may not be 50 people, it may not even be 100 sometimes, but if you're able to do that, lay that foundation and grow, I think that's something that people are seeing a lot in the crowdfunding spaces right now. There used to be a time in 2020, 2021, maybe 2020 or 2019, where you could throw a book and it was attractive enough, and just the base that was there on Kickstarter, who was probably home from COVID looking for something to do, just go and support that book. You could probably blow it out of the water as long as the quality was there. And now that's not quite the case. People are following and coming to the creators who have built that base for themselves. So once you have that mailing list of, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 people that have like come across their projects, your your window for getting a project done stays open longer, stays open wider, because those people are following what you do. Granted that you deliver on what you actually, are saying that you're going to do, and your books are consistently good, and you're keeping that quality coming out. So I'm 100% of that mindset of like, if people are finding it difficult, go ahead and try to do something. If you fail, you fail. People fail at shit all the time. Like Michael Jordan lost in the playoffs for like 7 years straight before he fucking found any sort of success. Greatness is never held back by failure. And maybe sometimes just things aren't going to be what we always want to be. That's okay. But you have to understand not just the expectations of where the industry is, but where the things for themselves. Because I see a lot of creators that are great, fantastic creators, awesome artists and writers and stuff, just beat the living hell out of themselves because they thought it was going to be just, they're going to be the next Grant Morrison or something like that. And it hasn't happened for them. And I was like, those kind of dumb expectations to have in the first place, because that's the top 0.05%.
That's just the survival of the fittest happening again. That's all that is. There's plenty of people that come in, and that's why I try and tell people all the time, don't think you're going to come in, find a publisher, and suddenly you're set. Even when you have a publisher, you're still doing 95% of the work to sell your book, to sell yourself, to sell all of it. Yes, they will go out and say, hey, we're publishing such and such a book. Of course they will. And they'll put it on their social media. But there's not going to be the drive from them that, it's more they're expecting you to sell the book for them. And they're just taking it to Diamond for you.
And even,
theoretically,
even myself,
you can't get in.
I try to do that stuff. It's like, I can't. I got 10 other titles to worry about. So publishers can't market things the way you can. They don't have the time. They don't have the money investment to do it. So 100%.
Well, and some of the ones that do are now collapsing. Look at Aftershock is gone. They used to have big, teams of people that are doing stuff. Scout had teams of people. Even there are publishers that attempted to do this, but in the end, they've all discovered that it's not working the way that it used to work. They're building these things based on the 80s and the 90s, maybe the early 2000s, but it's just not working. That system, again, we're talking about the retail end of things, the direct market, as they call it. It just doesn't work the way that it used to work.
Going back to Marcus, I'm the newest guy in this group for sure, but a year and a half ago to where I'm now, I've met a lot more people and I've grown a lot, and I've the foundation, getting that fan base foundation is important. I've went from 0, to 70 or 80 to 100, with this hard work. But getting that foundation is hard, and when you get it, to make it grow, to get it growing, Starcross Comics reached out, I'm getting published by them, but I'm still giving it 150% every day, without a campaign or with a campaign. I'm on this. I want people to know who Ralph is first, and then the Treaty and Justice. Getting that fan base is important. I saw Hunt put on there. And I'm learning from you guys. I love to listen to all you guys. I have everybody on Facebook, man. I read everybody's posts and their threads, and I'm absorbing because I know it's hard to Tom's saying, I'm never going to be in retail. I'm never going to be there. I'm going to be. This is for my heart. I want this comic to come out because it's my story, and whether I saw 1 or whether I saw 2,000. That's gonna be me, the same guy all the time with the same superhero, putting him out, getting people to understand who he is and why I want him out there. That's been I think the best thing that's ever happened to me with and meeting everybody that I've met in this industry. And they've helped a lot. A lot of people have helped me a lot with advice and stuff. But that's that foundation is the most important thing for me. Getting that.
I agree, Ralph, and I understand. Can JD, can you put up the previous comment from Paul? Paul, no. Please, no. What you're saying right now is absolutely the wrong thing to go. I'd give my IP to a publisher for free. No. This is part of the problem right now is so many creators And this is not an American problem. This is a global problem for all artists and writers of, you know what, I'm just going to give my creative soul for free. And that's just, it's going to get everything out there. Yeah. And it's going to give it to some idiot marketers who are just concerned with the bottom line. Now, each and every one of us understand, just flash of hands, how many of us here are comics writers, not artists, just the writers? JD, Tom, Ralph, Jay, yeah. Marcus a little bit, yeah. We would make so much more money if we were in prose. I'm in prose. I make more money in my books than I do in my comics. Comics is a passion. It is not a profession right now. Thank you, Aaron.
Well, but I'm going to stop you right there, because that's very situational and subjective to different creators, because all I do is comics for a living. That's it.
Damn.
So it can be done.
You.
Yeah, it can be done. I'm not saying it's easy at all, but next year will be my 15-year anniversary with Big Dog Inc., my company. And since that point, the only time I've had a few years where I worked at a comic shop for a while as a sort of on the side thing. But basically comics have been what I do for 15 years. And that started as going through Diamond. We did that for 4 years, all on our own, going through Diamond. We put books on the Diamond Top 300 in that time. Right after that, we were picked up by Aspen. Aspen published our books. And then when we left Aspen, we jumped into Kickstarter, and that was been about, 8 years or so since we've been doing that. And that's changed the landscape for me completely. And in that time of 15 years, I've been noticed by other publishers. I've worked for Dynamite Comics and so on. So it can be done, but it takes, it really takes a lot of effort and a lot of work and just consistency of doing it. Like I said earlier, it's just consistency of doing it. But like when I went to Aspen and they published my books, I didn't just say, here, take them and do what you want with them. Like, go, man, go. We had contracts set up where, I'd get this much percentage off of sales and so on and so on. And when we did new books, I had creative control over what we were doing and et cetera, et cetera. Never just say, hey man, I just want this stuff, to be published so that I can coattail into a convention with you and so on. If you want to be at a convention, just get a table. Go get a table. It's not hard to get a table. Obviously if you go to like San Diego or New York or something, it's harder, but there's plenty of conventions everywhere in this world. Go get tables, go sit in at comic book stores, whatever you want to do. But sorry.
I want to go back to the foundation element of this for a second, right? Because I love that, right? I'm always tracking my numbers. I don't know where you guys are at with this, right? But I've had almost 900 people lifetime, just under, support all of my campaigns. All right, 900 different people from when I started my first Kickstarter campaign. Of those 900 people, I've had different kind of releases. I've had superhero, I've had supernatural, I've had horror, right? And one thing I noticed through the different genres, it doesn't matter what they are, but Group A is not going to come back for Group B. Group B is not going to come back for Group C, and so on and so forth. But the thing that remains consistent is through my lifetime backers, I'm only getting about 7 to 10% of my lifetime backers returning. I don't know if that's the same with you guys, right? So I've set the foundation, right?
It's not exactly the same types of numbers, but you're right. What you're saying is right, because I do Western, superheroes, horror, or whatever. There is crossover, but it's not 100% crossover, not in the slightest. And I've even said before that there are people who will only back my book if I have a certain artist on the book. If I've got Bill McKay, they're coming to buy it. And if I don't have Bill McKay, they're not interested at all. So that's another element of this whole thing where you got to understand that there are segments even of comic book sales where you have people who are buying it because they want to read it, people who are buying it because they want to read / collect, people who are buying it, they don't even care what's on the inside. They only want the cover. There's people who are buying it for the sole purpose of flipping it. down the line. So again, you've got all of these different pools to dip your toes into, and you really kind of need to take stock of all of these options. And then sales, Kickstarter, eBay, your own website, live sales on any of these platforms is a thing, whatnot, all that kind of stuff. So there's so many different ways to sell. There's so many different people to sell to. And I feel like a lot of people get really hung up in the idea of like, well, I'm not going to do variants because that's not what I want to do. And I'm like, that's fine. But you realize that if you're going to come into Kickstarter and say you're going to sell a book for, $10, right? How many books do you need to sell to make $1,000? You think you're getting that many backers to do that? That's a lot of freaking backers. And, there's people that have been doing this for a long time that struggle to get to, even 500 backers. So,
that's a lot, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's math that has to go into this. There's rationale of like, who am I selling to? What are they willing to pay? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and so on and so on.
So, and sometimes you see that too with like, it's also depends on the energy that those people are carrying on too. Some people think, oh, I need 1,000 people. I'll tell you, if you're going in indie comics, you got like 75 to like 250 people that are really energized. They're going to be there no matter what. Mm-hmm. Will probably never struggle to get a project funded as long as you got those people going.
Yeah,
right. It doesn't take that many.
Daphne means 4,000, right? Because she's been doing this for a minute. She kicks fucking ass. I know
she's awesome, man. How the hell does she do it, man?
Yeah, but
Daphne hits every market. She's got the fantasy. She's got women. She's got a good fucking book. She's got softcore. She's got everything. Right
here. Hardcore.
Like I just said, there's all the pools to dip your toes into, and she's dipping into a lot of them.
Right. She's dipping into those pools. Creatively, Daphne is on point.
Yeah.
But she also married that guy on the top left corner, so you can't trust everything that she does.
That's why she'll never get over 200 backers because of that.
Are you saying that her decision-making process isn't very good?
Oh, yeah.
I know, yeah.
You got to take it with a little greater.
But here's the thing. That's why there's no justice. There's no justice in life, but we do have a sort of justice, though.
Right? Yeah.
There you go. So, Raphael, do you want me to play this video?
Sure, man. Yeah, please.
All right. All right, very nice.
Thank you.
And gentlemen, let this be an example. 56 seconds, very good time. Okay.
Thank you, Lord. Yeah, man. I see some long ones.
Yeah.
Oh God! If you have to get up to 3 minutes, you're done. You're done. Do not even going past a minute 30 for fledgling Kickstarter campaign creators. You want things less than 100 seconds. Period.
Yep, for sure. But Raphael, what are we looking at? Tell us about your story.
Right. So remember, issue 1 and 2 got funded. Thank God. I had so much more information before issue 3. I finally got a hold of Vince White, and we worked on this one shot that takes place in between issue 1 and 2. It'll introduce a trading injustice into why he was chosen to be the Alta Sword, the problems that he went through as a deputy sheriff that challenged his faith in and the Sword of Justice saw that in him. the righteousness and why he was chosen. It's more in depth into that, and if you can see the cover there, man, Vince White did a great job with that. You know, I like the deputy version and back, the wolves. You know, and I also I've always liked guidebooks, man. And then somebody told me it's too soon for a guidebook, and I'm like, you know what? It's not. So I have 20 characters in that guidebook for my universe. It's 2 for $21. You know what I'm saying? Shipping will be included in that. It's a lot, man. This has been my dream since I was 12 years old, 51 years old. Like we talked about the last time. I just had so much more information to put out. And Vince White did a great job with the one shot. Gilbert Monsanto drew the guidebook that's in there as well. It goes in depth. You see this page into how old the sword of justice is, and it he kind of can go back and have an idea, and he can understand what the sword of justice is, and he can keep all that knowledge. 400 billion years worth of knowledge goes with him. So it's a real cool comic, man. And you keep going, there's a sword of justice guidebook. It'll go in depth into every hero and their powers. I've always loved that, man. I've bought so many indie comics in the last 15 years where it's like issue 1, issue 2, and then you don't find them anymore. And I really love to understand what the heroes are. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do one. It'll be a package deal. It's doing really well with the grace of God. That's where it's at, man. Right there, there's those 2 books for $21. And also, there's we're already at the third rewards tier. The first is a Sword of Justice button. We got a sticker, and the last will be a trading card. So we're already past all those. But it's been a roller coaster, guys. It's awesome.
Cool.
Some ups and downs, but it did really well. Thank God.
No, it looks like you're doing very well. On top, like, so you're up to issue. This is issue 3. So how many issues are you seeing in the arc?
So this is a one shot that takes place in between issue 1 and 2.
Okay.
And now I'm trying to get to issue 8. The whole story will end with issue 8. That'll be called the Justice Awakening. I have almost all those scripted already as well. So, man, it's just I wish I could draw. Man, I wish I could draw. Jesus Christ, if I could draw, it would be a package deal, baby. But no, you know, Joseph De Santos was my first artist who did 1 and 2 with Aaron Dowen as helped me script it. This book is like 95% me. Aaron helped me edit it, and Vince helped a little bit with the script, but it's almost all my writing in there. So it introduces also a new superhero, Razor Wolf, that you saw right there. That's my boy right there, Mexican American Indian. Nice. So keeping it Texan, man, keeping it Texan.
Nice.
But it's been getting that fan base, man. You know, it's so hard and at the same time intriguing because, man, I went from 0 to where I'm at now in a year and a half, and it's, man, I've grown exponentially, and I just want to keep going up. That's my best wish, is just slowly but surely just climb, and hopefully I can bring some good friends with me, some good backers with that. You know, I have a lot of good friends that are backing it. Some new people I met, and it's an amazing ride, man. I have nothing but respect for all of you guys, man. They've been doing this for so long. I respect every single one of you guys more than you think, because it can be challenging sometimes.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Thank you. I mean, listen, man, you're doing awesome, though. You got another 15 days to go. You got 105 backers. You've already funded, so you're good, man.
Yeah, man. We got to get those numbers up. We got to get those numbers up, baby.
Of course. Yes. You got to get them up, you know. But yeah, but you're good. You're yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's see. Now this is where I need assistance. Right, Jay?
Always.
You should see him on his show. All right.
That's why Grant. I stopped commenting.
Grant, you want me to play this video?
Sure.
All right.
Sasquatch, the Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, the Jersey Devil, Chupacabra. For millennia, these creatures have perplexed the human race. But what if they are forces of good? What if they have been sent here by a federation of more advanced alien species to help and defend the human race? That's the premise of League of Cryptids, a new comic book by Grant Lankard, creator of the smash hits Beowulf and Memoirs of the Morbid. His new comic, League of Cryptids, is a 4-part story involving these 5 creatures banding together to defend Earth from an invading alien race, just as one of their members is losing faith in the human race and questioning their mission. The adventure continues in League of Cryptids 2.
Another video of like perfect length. I can tell you.
Yes. Good link. All right. So Grant, walk us through this. What do we got?
Yeah, so this is issue 2. It kind of continues the story from issue 1. The idea is what we think of as cryptids are actually ancient aliens who were put here to help humans develop and also defend Earth from outside sources. And in this issue, in this 4-part story, they are fighting an alien invasion by a group of aliens that look extremely like another cryptid, a less famous cryptid known as the Loveland Frogmen. Yeah, we have a couple different variant comics. It's a fun little story. I think you guys should check it out.
All right, cool. And what's this one? More Memoirs of the Morbid. I think this is before I met you.
Yeah, that's an add-on. You can get some of my older comic books added on to the comic book. Memoirs of the Morbid is EC style horror, like Tales from the Crypt or Creep Show.
All right, cool. Yeah, Beowulf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still kind of my main title.
Very nice. And you said this was a 4-issue limited series?
It is.
Okay, cool.
There'll be sequels, I'm sure.
Right. Now, you're the artist as well as the writer, right?
I have one other guy named Tony Pisana who helps me out with the art, but I do most of the art myself.
You even do the coloring as well?
Yeah, I do the coloring.
Nice.
Gotcha. Now, how much time does it take you to do a whole page?
Coloring?
Well, I'm talking about the whole thing, from nuts to bolt, from when you start layouts to finish colors.
Honestly, a couple days.
Couple days. Okay, that's cool.
I mean,
it's a lot of work.
I think. Yeah, somebody was saying earlier that they wish they knew how to draw.
Me.
And I was sitting here thinking like, oh man, you really don't, because it's
I wish I didn't know how to draw so I could just like put it out of my mind. Sometimes I get like so frustrated from the fact like I don't have the time to draw anymore, doing all the publishing stuff that like at this point it's an emotional liability.
There you go.
I mean, writing, drawing, and promoting a comic book. It's a lot of work.
Package deal, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Chupacabra.
Yeah. Do you also letter?
I'm sorry?
Do you also do the lettering?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So you're doing the whole thing. So yeah, wow. All right.
Package deal.
Man, listen, I mean, the book looks really good. You're on your second issue. Got 119 backers. You got eight days. You got another $700. I don't think you're gonna have a problem making. Like you said, it might be a little tight, but I think you're not gonna have an issue making that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a little bit close, but I'm promoting the hell out of it. Yeah. And I should say, if we make it to 2,500 as a bonus, if we make it to 2,500 this weekend, by end of the day tomorrow, I'll throw in a trading card of
Cool.
Chupacabra. So there's that too. So if you guys are thinking about backing the Kickstarter but planning on waiting, you might want to back it this weekend.
There you go. Now's the time to come in. You get the Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble pronouncing that, didn't I?
No, you're fine.
Right. We just roll our R's better. That's all.
That's it.
That's all.
This is where I should be filling in the void. You know,
Yeah, you could be, but you're not. So okay, so you can be quiet again.
Or you can pull a Depeche Mode and just enjoy the silence.
Exactly. Jack, do you want to play this video? Jack, are you still there?
You're on mute. You're on mute, Jack.
All right, I cursed off so you don't hear it. Please play. I didn't make it.
All right, very nice, very nice. All right. So Jack, walk us through this. What do we got?
So what we got right now is an epic fantasy series that's in issue 5 of a 6-part arc, and it's about a young mage that's trying to help save his adopted homeland. This issue takes him to a mountain of shadow, and he's trying to discover new magic, and the mountain is saying, no, you're not allowed to come here. And it's part fantasy, part horror, part psychological horror, and trying to bring hope when you hate yourself, sort of thing.
Okay. Cool. Nice. So, all right. So you said this is a six-parter you're going through here?
6-part right here for this arc. You can actually, if you go to the campaign page, you can actually read issue 1 for free.
Cool.
And you can get every issue on the page. Even if you like back to issues 1 and 3, you could get issues 2 and 4 and the add-ons, and not have to worry about anything. And it's one of those supremely long epic fantasy series where you could dive into for years on end.
Gotcha. Now, so okay, so you're just at the beginning of this story then.
Exactly.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. Now, your art team, is this these are the guys from the very beginning? You've been working with them?
Yeah. The interior artist, Evan Scale, and I have been working together since 2018. He and I kept working together. I gave him the first issue script as well as a ton of other ideas, and he's like, no, this is the one I want to work on. And it was so successful, it spun off into a whole series.
Nice.
And people are just starting to see how awesome he is as an artist. He just did a variant cover for Nightwolf with Rob Multari.
Nice.
I love being able to work in this. This is the best fucking thing about comics as a writer. It's let me work with someone who gets to bring their vision as well to my mad thoughts.
Very nice.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Like I'm in the middle of a 2-year project of writing an epic fantasy book, and I love it. At the same time, I'm looking at this going, I know I'd have to pay like $100,000 to Evan to illustrate this, but how fucking awesome would it be?
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. So I mean, so tell me a little bit about the world. What's this character? So you have your mage here. Is he a young mage, old mage? Because I don't know anything about the series, so I'm kind of new to it. So what is his process like? What's he going through?
So Camridian sort of feels like mystery. He's from one of the distant lands to the south. He comes and surprises everyone by being appointed the first mage ever to the court of Danisfire. And he promises the king, I'm going to travel throughout the kingdom and I'm going to give you a new miracle. Mm-hmm. And this entire first arc is him going all around the kingdom, finding new places of magic and taking bits from them to make a new miracle. As the series is going on, his king is building a watchtower in the middle of nowhere just because Camridian says so. And this is the last stop. The next issue is the conclusion of this arc, where Camridian goes to the watchtower for the first time, and whether or not it's worth it to the king is really up to him.
All right, cool. Now, when it comes down to arcs, is there one complete story? Like, how many arcs do you think are going to be in the complete story, if you have a complete story?
So the complete story was actually our first one shot. It was called Legends of the Realm Torn Soul. Right. This first one is let's explore the land and everything in it. The next one, which is written, will be what's the problems in the Kingdom of Danisfire. And we've got probably 5 arcs after that throughout. Evan and I joke, we'll keep making these comics as long as people let us.
That's cool. That's cool. It's a good looking book, man. I mean, you got 116 backers. You got another 5 days to go. It's gonna be a little tight for you, but I think you can make, I don't think you're gonna have a problem making that gap. So
we got $1,052 $52 to go. We can do this.
For sure.
All the 6 of you need to do is pledge $300 right now.
That's it.
Right back at you, buddy. Right back at you.
There we
Jay's
go.
going to take care of my share because his team cost me that much money today.
There you go.
It was a $300, but I backed it, so I'm doing my part.
Thanks, Tom.
Yes, you are. Thank you so very much.
Tom, they didn't cost you money. They cost me money because they're not going to hit more than 9 wins this year. So I owe some dough for that.
Oh, my God. Hey, again, I'm a Steelers fan. Everyone said this is going to be the first losing season for the Steelers in the Mike Tomlin era. I am just like, I'm playing with house money right now.
Bless you, bro. You lucky devil.
Marcus, what are we looking at?
Looking at here is one of the next great books coming out of Odyssey Comics. So this is Slight Return, a supernatural rock and roll thriller. This comes to the courtesy of scribe Rob Pilkington, who was one of the standouts from Dark Horse Comics talent search a while back. He's now under the Odyssey team and has been doing a couple things for us. First, he hit out with Critical Mass, and then he pitched me this story along with illustrator Heather Vaughn. I know a lot of people know Heather around the indie comic space. She's worked on everything from Stranger Things to G.I. Joe to Heathens. And she's just, this is like as she has told me, like one of the last times she'll probably be doing like interior artwork. So it's like an honor for us to be able to put this one out. So this is going to be about a 48-page graphic novel. We'll have this available as both a hardback and as a softback. Follows the story of rock and roll queen Theo Von Every, who moves into a Louisiana mansion that she inherited from her recently departed father, only to find out that sinister things are afoot in it when a stranger comes knocking at the door, looking to inquire about a guitar that may lay inside that some say was forged by the devil himself.
Oh,
cool. That's a cool catcher right there.
Yes. So this one's we're working up for it. We've already sort of revealed one of our variant covers. If you follow us on Instagram, Kelsey Ramsey, who's done good deeds over with IDW, Doctor Who, and Life is Strange, is contributing the variant cover for us. Then one of our own artists, recent fellow that I came across, is now under the Odyssey fold, Matthias Villanova, will also be contributing a variant cover for us. That one we're going to reveal this week as we march closer towards the release of it. And we got some other cool extras that we're going to be throwing in with it too. So this is going to be a special one right here. I hope everybody takes a chance to follow along with it, because I think this is sort of, we talked earlier about how we change things and how we pivot depending on what things do. This is really like the first salvo out of like the future state of Odyssey Comics and the sort of books that people can start anticipating seeing from us more. And if this is successful, then it's going to give us a green light to do so many more things.
Oh, very nice, very nice. When do you expect to launch?
Expecting to launch, this one's probably going to come probably a bit before Thanksgiving. I'm not stupid enough to launch on a holiday. But we're going to beat it by just a little bit, and then we're going to come in with that.
Nice. Now, Marcus, you're getting greedy. What's this?
This one is from the Paradox side. So everybody's remember, we're two publishing houses now. So we Iberian was the first thing that we did on the Paradox side. We had a really successful campaign. Actually, I still got some of the books right here too. So like on top of just being like a great thing for us to publish, like these are some of my favorite books that like we've ever done. Like they came out like gorgeously. Like the binding is perfect on them. The artwork just like is brilliant. This one's from Luca Brico. It's a dark fantasy series. If you've read anything like heavy metal, we were really trying to bring back that vibe to it. So again, this is like another pivot. We got what we're doing on the Odyssey side, which is kind of clear, but we're also using Paradox to tap into more of that core old school feel of independent comics and to tie into that. So this is going to be continuing the story after the success that we had with chapters 1 and 2 coming out. We're only pending about 10 rewards to go out. I know we were talking about before the show launch, I was waiting on those hard covers to come in and to finalize that last proof. And that one is in the mail right now. So as soon as we get all those in, we can fully close out the next campaign, and this one's going to launch as soon as that's ready to go. So we're really excited about it. Luca worked up this nice little comic book based like intro for it, do something a little bit different for a pre-launch page. And this one really dives into the story of King Veyron, who sort of starts out this whole epic that we're on, where you get to learn more about the history of the world that we're inhabiting, and then more of what comes after that too. So I think if you enjoyed the first two, you're going to like this one. And this is like a supersized chapter. I think the first two chapters we did combined was about 124 pages. This one is just a 94-page chapter all on this thing. So it's going to be a thick book. We got a lot coming out, and the artwork for it is still just hitting that same level of quality that we did, if not better, on the first two. So this one we're really excited to bring out, and this one's going to be coming pretty soon.
All right, cool. Looks awesome. I mean, and this is is this a limited series? Is it like 6 issues, or
this was? I think I gotta check with Luca again, because we're kind of keeping things flexible a little bit more. Right. He has the full story mapped down and planned, but we're sort of trying to determine how best to release everything, because some chapters are uneven a little bit. So like I said, some of the previous chapters that we did, they're around 56 to like 60 pages. This one's 94 pages. So we're trying to get everything out in a way that feels like every time that you're picking up the book, you're coming back to the Kickstarter. It's a great chunky read for you. And also when we're pivoting and we're throwing it into the direct market and having it available on Kindle and everything like that, we can also bundle it into like larger volumes. So when number 4 comes out, that's going to be the next hardcover volume edition. The second volume we'll be able to release. So I think in all, we're probably going to hit closer to 8, but I have to double check with them on that. Like right now, I'm just enjoying the ride too, because this is on top of being something that I published, something I'm also like a fan of. I was reading this book before Luca even pitched it to me. I was reading on Global Comics, and he got pretty good readership there. I think probably 50,000 readers combined for the first 2 release. So once we're all good with 3, that'll go up on Global Comics too, and we're keeping it exclusive there for everybody else to read along. And yeah, man, these will be the 2 that sort of close out the year for me. I was gonna see if I could squeak one in December, but decided maybe I should take some time for holidays and not promote something for once, and just recoup a little bit before we hit the next slog of 2025.
All right, cool. It looks great. I mean, listen, man, you always run great campaigns, so I don't think you're gonna have an issue.
Yep.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, we got this other guy here.
Which other guy?
This fucking pendejo that I work with. Jay. Do you want me to play this
Oh
video?
yeah, I know that guy.
Everybody knows that guy. He doesn't run good campaigns. You don't got to worry about playing the video. It's just a little animated sequence in the beginning, and when I'm showing off the stuff. Okay, so then play it.
Interceptor.
Shield of the Interceptor, the flagship character of Unstoppable Comics, is becoming an action figure, but needs your help to get there. This 1/18 scale action figure is looking to raise $40,000 to move into the manufacturing stage. We have already completed the steps of design and prototyping, but can't get to the next level without you. If you are in the position to help this hero go from paper to plastic, join us by pledging to the Shield of the Interceptor campaign from Unstoppable Comics.
Quick and to the point, huh?
Nice.
It's under 60 seconds. Hello,
You
come
did a
on,
good job.
Come on, Jack.
Look,
Chime in.
everybody tonight did a good job. All right, so Jay, talk to us. Tell us about your.
Yeah, so I am delirious enough to try to make an action figure of a book that I've been working on for quite a while. Like I said in the video, Shield of the Interceptor is the flagship character of Unstoppable Comics. He's on our marquee, on our letterhead, stuff like that. You'll always see him on the logo. So we are opening this up with 3 different versions of the figure. The variant, training variant, and then there are 3 different enemies for him to fight. 3 demons, 3 army builders for those who are looking to get something extra than just the hero. You can pick up these demons in singles or in batches of 5 or batches of 10 for those who like to troop build. That's what those guys are here for. Then you look down, we have the breakdown of how he is constructed. Excuse me. For a little bit further down here, we have some articulated movement pictures. And then we also have a video testing the articulation of the figure. And then the video before that is showing you what other figures we have ready to come out if we are funded and we can hit stretch goals. Those figures were all debuted at New York Comic Con this past year. And then here's a turnaround of some of the other ones that will be directly released if we can get to the stretch goal. Here are some more comparison images. So if you had any of these figures, you know where he stands in relationship to those. Now, before, he is coming from a comic book, and these are the 5 issues that we have produced for him so far. If you want a little bit extra or find ways that you think you can support the campaign, we've had some t-shirts that we've printed up in bulk. So they are also available in this campaign. And then one of the fun things that I've always done with my comic books on Kickstarter have been trading cards. So those card sets are also available with this campaign. We are we're fighting off the back foot on this one, guys. You know, earlier before tonight, I said we were shit in the bed, but it's not that. I mean, this is the best campaign I've ever run. You know, we're raising a ton of dough. I just have no way to access it, right? If I was able to pull the money out right now, I could get at least one mold made. But this is Kickstarter. It's all or nothing, baby. You know, so we're looking to get $43,000. We're at $7,000 right now. If we can do 12,000 a week for the next 3 weeks, we got this shit done, baby. We're almost there. What did Jack say? 300 from everybody? Come on. Damn. Come on, Jack. That's what I need. 300 from everybody right now. And we're golden. We're golden, baby.
I think you need more like 5K from everybody.
5K, about 5K from everybody.
Yeah,
probably more.
Yeah, but I'm learning a lot. I'm learning first of all that my presentation could have been better, but we're already locked in on this. So let's, like I said earlier, man, we're riding the wave. We're riding the wave on this. What can I learn? What other goals can I attain, even if this one fails? The one question I have for everyone, though, and I wanted to ask before Calderon started to show off the campaigns was, why is it the reload button on your screen doesn't automatically increase your pledge count? How come that doesn't work? Is it only mine that it doesn't work on, or everybody else have that problem?
No, that's actually my trick to funding. I just click it repeatedly. And then,
It's like, why is it broken? Right? What's that show? No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Stop. Right? That's what I do with the fucking with the reload button. But so we're trying to make toys, baby.
Yeah, they look fantastic. And they look like great toys. I mean,
Thanks.
Listen, whether it be now or later, it's gonna happen, and those toys are gonna be fantastic.
Yeah.
Maybe later.
Listen, I mean, you never know.
Later.
Yep. This is a campaign I'm currently running. Well, Daphne's running for a book for a title that we create together. So this is Tall Tales, Tears of the Mother, Volume 1. This is issues 1 through 4 of the series. This is where an intrepid group of friends gather together. They go on a mission and they end up screwing up the entire realm while they do it. So it's a lot of fun. This is something that Daphne and I have been working on. This is technically volume 5 because we have 4 other volumes before this. So there's another pre-story before this. All of them are available. If you want, you can check them out. You can go to Tall Tales Online to check them out. They're up there. You can see them there for free if you like, and you can also pick up the books here. So if you want physical. So there we go. And that's running for another 12 days. And Jesus Christ, like Marcus, I can never stop. The Oswald Chronicles, this will be up hopefully in another week or two. This is When Tender Souls Mourn, issues 1 through 4, where Oswald runs across a young lady, a young fae, and she is a detriment to his life. But he's befriended her. They become really good friends, and she has fulfilled a certain part of his life that he's never realized that he was missing. Right? He's alone in the world, and he never realized it up until this point. So, and this character, this person shows him this, and it's not until his friend's intervention that things really go down, and then and it happens in this series. So there you go. All right. So Jay, ask your question.
I did. Why does the reload button not increase the pledges?
Okay, on to you, sir. Give us a smart one, please.
No. My friend, come on, man. My first one back in weeks. Let me have some fun.
That's what I'm saying. I think in 3 weeks you'd have one good question.
I got stuff backed up. I've got questions like a mother. No. This hopefully is a fun one. Okay. Comic book history, we know about the golden age, the bronze age, the silver age, right? The modern age. If we could define now, this time period, what age would you call it?
I think we were up to Raphael. You're up.
Oh, okay. What was the question? One more time? I'm reading the damn comments in the bottom.
So, if you could name this as an age, right? Because we've had the golden age, the silver age, the bronze age, the modern age. What would you call this time period of comic books? The what age?
The broke age, man. It's crazy, man. Oh, no, look, man. So I am the newest to this, right? I've had 2 successful Kickstarter campaigns, thank God, but I haven't made half the money I spent. You know what I'm saying? This third one, this one shot, finally, I saw some light. You know, and I guess like most people, I do it for the heart, you know, of my story, right? Oh, I know none of us are going to become millionaires, but this day and it's getting harder with the way the world is out there. So trying to reach people to back your comic book, and when they do, says a lot. And to me personally, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I thank every backer that backs my comic book, because it's tough right now for all of us, all you guys, everybody here selling a comic book. It's hard. And I'm thankful for that. But this day and age right now, it's hard. So broke age or the tougher age. But we just gotta keep going forward. You know what I'm saying? We love our story, and we love our character and what he stands for. We just gotta keep moving forward. You know what I'm saying? No money with little money, or selling blood or some shit. You know, we gotta get that comic book out there, and that's gonna be my plan. I know until like what the other guy said, until they stop buying my comic book. You know, it's gonna keep happening no matter what.
All right, cool. Tom, what age is it?
So the modern age that's existed for too long. I mean, it's been like since 1990 to now, whatever. So let's just assume that the age we're talking about is 2020, because that's where everything changed anyway. That's where Marvel and DC stopped making books and publishers stopped making books, but creators didn't stop making books. So to me, this is hopefully the creators' age. It moves us beyond the box that we used to sit in and almost be forced to exist in. You know, when everybody sat at home and had nothing to do, what did they do? They consumed, whether it's comics, TV, movies, whatever. We're in a creator's age right now, and we just have to, like we talked about earlier, just be consistent with it. We just have to keep going with it. We can't let up, and we have to tell people that we exist, and we have to tell people that we are making things. The other problem, however, is that we also exist in the nostalgia age, which is meaning that the consumers and the customers that we're trying to attract with our new properties are hung up on what happened 40 years ago. And that's why we see so many homage covers and things like that, because creators are trying to tap into the nostalgia aspect of things, which is fine. We do that too. I'm not saying don't do it, but we have this sort of weird coin that has two sides, which is, hey, we're creating all this stuff new, which you've all been telling us, hey, we want new stuff. Well, here's new stuff. But then when we show them the new stuff, they're like, oh, well, that just reminds me of Ghostbusters. That reminds me of Indiana Jones. That reminds me of Star Wars. That reminds me of this. So there's the nostalgia side that we can't seem to disconnect from at this point. So it's the, it's flip the coin. It's either the creator age or it's the nostalgia age.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
that's
creator age.
Yeah, there's plenty of people who are like, like walls of toys behind them from like God knows when. Anyway, Grant, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if we're in this age yet, but I think we're going to be moving into the crowdfunding age because, or maybe we should call it the direct market. Whereas, I mean,
direct to consumer, DTC market,
people thought that when the comic book stores started, that was the direct market, but we're selling directly from creators to the customers now. So to me, that's the direct market. So yeah, that's what I think we're moving into. We're gonna move into an age where we're selling directly from the creator to the consumer.
All right, cool. Jack, what are your thoughts?
I think we're in an information sync age. I think everyone here is my age or older, which means each and every one of us started our schooling with the Dewey Decimal System. Like each and every one of us knew the card catalog thing, but now we're at an age where something not seen before in human history, where all of the knowledge of humanity is found, here.
Mhm.
Like a square on a phone. This is monumentally life-changing, and it's something we take for granted. We are at the stage of trying to figure out what that is like. For creators, artists are unique because we have to compete with someone 600 years dead. No one else has to compete with Da Vinci in terms of I could read this, or I could read the Divine Comedy, or I could spend $6 and watch 8 hours of an amazing series for the same price of a comic book. It's one of these things that we have to reckon with as creators, and we both hate it and we love it, but it's something that we have to reckon with.
Cool. Marcus, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree. I think we're in this very creator-centric age. That's the best I can define it. Because you look at even what's going on with the big two, and we're seeing really that it's less about pushing sort of books that they used to have, and it's more about the creators that are coming aboard, like doing things. Like you look at, guys like Daniel Warren Johnson and the new Absolute line that, say, DC is putting out. They're bringing this indie comic vibe to a more mainstream audience. So from the top down, really, that's what we're doing. And I think that, I try to always remind everybody all the time that as an independent comic creator, even with the ups and downs, this is by far the most phenomenal time to ever be an indie comic creator in the history of making comics. And I'm always just taken aback, like the quality and the level of the average independent comic book today compared to 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, is like crazy. Some of us were, when we first started trying to do stuff, we're like running off photocopy stuff at Kinko's and like stapling together and trying to do this. And now
you're giving JD flashbacks.
Yeah. And now we're getting professional quality, printed comic books that you go to cons and go on Kickstarter and you see what's going on. And that's been empowering. It's been tough because there's so much out there now, but that's never a bad thing. Is that the industry is more accessible and people are able to do it at a higher level than they've been in the past. And we have this sort of globalization of it and network that we're able to take advantage of that is not really like a lot of other things. So yeah, I think we're in the creator age, and hopefully it's one that's going to stick around for a while.
I had a question. JD, Jay, who has been here the longest as a creator? JD, how long you been doing it?
Oh, Calderon.
Since '92.
God,
and now that's when I first printed.
Right.
So we started with my crew 86, 87.
God bless. Compared to now, how would y'all network, man? I could not live without social media,
All right. Well, being a child of the 80s, we had telephones. We did have them. They were connected to wires, right? They're connected to wires and walls. But living in New York City was a huge benefit because a lot of people, huge communities, had a friend who went to art and design, which was a huge art school here. Basically, hooked up with some of his friends, and one of his friends told me, he said, "Listen, I'm gonna bring you all the best artists from my class." And that's how I met a bunch of the people, and that's how we networked. And I met a bunch of people. I met a bunch of people who eventually became professionals before they were professionals, right? Like, I can rattle off names, but I don't want to. But
yeah, in the 80s and 90s, we had to go places and
Yes.
talk to people and
Yeah.
Very
and
much
meet and do those things.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yes, yeah.
And I know that's scary to all you out there in internet land, but
Right.
that's what Gen X had to do. We in my case, I worked at a comic shop and I met tons of people. That's where I got my first taste of comic book stuff, as I worked as an art assistant for an artist who happened to be one of our customers. So,
Yeah.
For me, it was the comic book club at high school. Like our art department had quite a few kids that were into comics, so we got together, made a club, and that was my first time attempting to collaborate and make a comic with somebody. So,
Thank you, Justin.
Awesome. I was wondering, man, how y'all did it back in the day, man. It's crazy.
yeah, we had to talk to people in person. Unfortunately, it was
Yeah.
a real pain.
No, I was running ash cans in 2005. I did the laser printer on legal paper, folded that motherfucker, got the long staplers so you can cut one in there, had the paper cutter. I was trimming stacks, and then somebody told me about Comics Press or Comic Express. That was a very early digital printer out here in New York, and I think it was located in Jersey.
Yeah.
I
was doing that stuff in 91, 92. So.
Hey, man, I'm still doing that right now, man. I'm getting copies. I'm printing them. I'm taking them to comic shops. I'm putting them everywhere. I'm still doing that old school stuff, man. It still worked. I met a lot of people that way. A lot of kids are like, "Hey, what is that?" You know what I'm saying? And I'm just harassing everybody.
There you go.
You gotta do. But to answer Jay's question, it's for me, it's an offshoot parallel to the creator age. For me is the me age, right? Meaning that meaning each of us.
the Calderon age. Just say it. It's the Calderon age. Just say it.
Not age, mine, right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, but but when I say that is that we as individuals, we get to make our own stuff, right? We get. I don't think there's ever been a period, because when I started in '92, I had to print 3,000 copies, right? I there was just no way around that. We just had to do offset, right? Now you could print 5 copies, 10 copies, doesn't matter, right? You can go to one of these small printers and you just get a few copies done for yourself. So that's what I mean by the me age. You go to some of these smaller conventions, you meet some of these creators, and they're like bonkers. Some of the stuff that I see, like, because you just don't see this stuff on Kickstarter. Like, some of the stuff that you just see is just off the wall, batshit crazy, and they're just doing their own thing. And it's all, like Jay said, they're still printing the stuff out, folding it themselves, stapling it, putting bubble gum on it, doing whatever they got to do to get them out there.
Yeah, I know a guy who does zines. If you guys, the
Right.
old little
Wow.
zines. That's how he makes his comic. It's always a zine.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of people doing mini comics. The mini comic scene is still huge.
Funny enough, that's more expensive to print per unit, though.
It depends, because you got to remember a lot of people. You got to remember a lot of people are sneaky. They're printing them at their jobs. They're printing them at their friends' jobs.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. It's like nowadays when you print out a zine, it's like people go into Photoshop and actually add like the ugly little effects that the photocopier used to make. So it's like it's kind of pretentious that we still do like these zines. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, some people it's a look. Some people just like
yeah, that's true.
So,
Like
Jay,
Grindhouse.
what age are we in?
I like the creator, and I was leaning on crowdfunding, but you know what? I'm gonna go with the DIY age, because it's not just about making the comic books nowadays, right? You have to do the live stream podcasting circuit. You have to do more than just business 101 from college if you want to make it to issues 2, 3, and 4, complete an arc, Right?
So how are you gonna get that? You never made it past that class. How are you gonna make issue 2?
I had no clue, baby. That's why I'm still here. That's why I'm still here. I'm trying to figure that out.
Gotcha. I'll get you your honorary diploma real soon.
GD.
You know what's funny? I'd love to go to a college and apply for life credits in this. Right. And just see what their response is. You know, do I get an associate's? Do I get a bachelor's? Do I get a master's? You know, what can
Not
I
wearing
bring
that
to
shirt,
the
you
table?
don't.
Yeah.
Put on your Jets shirt.
Oh, don't make me go get it.
You put on your Mets cap and your Mets shirt.
Don't ever say I'm a Met fan. I'd rather you curse me out. I don't watch minor league baseball. Don't ever fucking insult me like that.
Listen, man,
Get out of here with that shit.
Look, man, you don't have to be embarrassed about your favorite team, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh. Chingazo time. That is Cowboys age.
The Dallas Cowboys. There you go. All right, Marcus, you're up. What's your question?
I would like to know, I think all of us here, well, probably with the exception of Raph, but you'll probably come to it too, is what was the first instance where you found your limitation as a creator when it comes to comics? I think we all really try putting ourselves out there, and everybody comes into big plans initially, and then you reach a point where it's like, okay, maybe that thing's not for me. You start sort of paring things down to come back. And of course, this is on the top of my mind because this is where I'm kind of at right now, or getting past that hump. And I was also talking about that with my creative director, Aaron, yesterday too. It's like we both have had this similar journey where it's like, okay, I had this idea of how I would approach comics and do stuff, then found out that maybe I suck at this one particular and maybe that's not for me, or maybe I'm not comfortable in this certain arena. Maybe that's not for me. So I guess that would be my question is, where did you find your limits, or have you found them yet when it comes to creating comics?
Cool. Tom, you're up.
I've found many limits, but I don't have a choice but to bypass them. I am Big Dog Inc. is me. Obviously I hire artists and so on, but I write the books, I find the artists, I edit them, I do all the Kickstarter stuff. I build all the Kickstarters myself. I do all the imagery on Photoshop all myself. I deal with the printers. I go to the cons. I do these goddamn shows every Sunday with these two guys. Everything is me. So there are limitations all over the place in that I do the shipping as well. So the limitations for me ultimately come to, I run into a thing. It's like, I have all this shipping to do. This is going to slow me down. I don't have a choice. I just do it and I get it done. So I think that ultimately the limits are not, they don't limit me from success. They don't limit me from creating. They just limit me from a efficiency standpoint. Because if I'm shipping, I can't be writing. If I'm writing, I can't be shipping, and so on and so on. Yeah. So I think
you haven't created that cloning machine yet.
No, and they're the obvious sort of step for me in that regard is like hire somebody, to come do shipping and so on. And I've tried to do that to have people just flake out on me. I'm like, here, I will pay you money to come and do this. And so and over my entire life, not just in comics, but over my entire life, I've had people be like, yo, I got you. We're going to take care of this. We're going to do this. And then it's gone. So I have put it all on myself, to a detriment in some case, because now I'm not willing to look outside of myself to help grow the brand or so on, because I kind of feel like if I don't do it, it's not going to get done, or it's not going to get done right, or whatever. And so, things fall through the cracks because it's just me. Things slow down because it's just me. But I always look at it as like, well, yeah, if I reach out again, though, am I going to fall in a hole again because somebody's going to, ditch out on me, and I'm still going to have to do it myself, meaning I wasted the time to find somebody to do it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the limits are not so much limits as sort of redirections. And I kind of understand that. I kind of see the system. It's like, I have to be here and ship for a couple hours a day. I have to be here and write for a couple hours a day. I have to be here and do JD's show. And I just kind of have to use that to schedule, like, okay, every day is pieces of these things that I have to do until, all of it's done. And then we start over again when we do another Kickstarter or whatever. So the limitations are, like I said, are redirections. Limitations are fixable if I ever were to get past my distrust of, humanity, and we'll eventually get there. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at, because I feel like I can write anything at this point. So there's no real creative boundaries for me. I feel like I can find artists easily, quickly, efficiently. It's the one place that I really haven't had struggles as far as like them dropping out on me. Happens on occasion, but very, very rarely now.
Yeah, I could feel you there too. So I think I'm at that point where probably little Tommy Hutchison finally had that realization for himself. I'm like at the same thing. My struggle usually is, I have a super full-time corporate job that's very demanding on top of also doing comic books. So like comics is your thing, so you can parse things up. But me, I only have this window every single day.
Yeah. For me, I am definitely at an advantage because I don't do anything else. I mean, I do live sales and stuff, to as far as selling comics and so on. Like I buy collections and flip them and so on, but it's still all within the comic book bubble of what I do. So every day is just what is my comic book job today, to get through all of the things that are on the list.
I just want to aggressively agree with Marcus and Tom. Like the major problem I think with comics is not creativity, it's not marketing, it's a grand total of money. Like if I had X amount of money, all I would be doing is making more comics and telling and giving money to more artists to make more comics. I had a conversation with my wife, like, once the kids get into elementary school, I'm just going to be doing this all day. And she's like, you're right. And that's the crazy thing of this whole thing is that's what we're here for. It's what we're trying to do. It's trying to get to that point of being able to do exactly what we're trying to sell to people. Hi, buy our books so we can make you more books to buy.
Cool.
True. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of limits. I mean, especially early on, there were times where I had to redraw the same panel like 4 or 5 times. That's not fun, but it was something that's necessary. And I was actually just thinking about this earlier today. I used to do that back in the day, and I don't do that as much anymore. So I don't know if that means that I'm getting better, or if it means that I don't care as much, or maybe a combination of the two. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of limits, and I think, like Tom said, I try to work through them or work around them, as opposed to just giving up.
As Bruce Lee says, be water.
Yes.
And listen, like, limitations aren't always a bad thing. Sometimes we find those limits because they're directions we're not supposed to be going in, and things we're not supposed to be doing. And I think that's one thing I'm also learning from myself too. I would like to do as many books as I can, and I always say that, oh well, there's many points. I'm never really going to scale back. Not really. Not true. Might do like slightly less in like a certain time frame, but I'm always going to be aggressively creating because that's what I love. More so than anything else. I love having something that's on a piece of paper. It's a story, it's an outline, and then turn it into a book. Something that other people are enjoying. I think that's why we do everything here, and why we're all here, and why we keep coming back and doing Kickstarter after Kickstarter and campaign after campaign and throwing all our money into it. It's heroin for us.
Yeah, creators have to create. It doesn't matter if it's comics or a book or a movie or whatever you are as a creative person. there's plenty of creative people like in the movies that have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. They don't have to do anything ever again in their life. They have the money, but they're still looking for projects to do. Maybe they do smaller projects, that are a little more interesting than the high profile stuff, because they've done that. They made their money. Now let's make this weird, interesting, gritty thing. Right. I think that at the end of the day, you really have to understand that creators are here to create. That's what they're put on the earth to do, in whatever capacity it is that they do, whether it's writing, art, coloring, making movies, acting, whatever it is. So
you gotta do it until you physically can't anymore.
Yeah, I think the goal, a lot of people always ask, like, what's the goal of, like, making comics and stuff. And there's a lot of people that talk about, like, legacy of this. Like, I'm like, I don't buy into legacy. I buy into the goal is to make enough money to pay my bills and keep making whatever it is that I'm making. Like, that's it. If I can turn my lights on and I have internet and I can make more comics, that's the life that we need to keep making what we're making.
So I don't know if everyone has seen, and it's on Netflix now, the musical Tick, Tick, Boom. Jonathan Larson, the guy who made Rent, which all of us probably heard Seasons of Love way too many times. This was the musical that he made before that. It's the musical about making art, and the entire concept of the show is I'm putting all this effort and doing everything to getting this full read through, and all these professional creators in New York City and producers are going to watch it, and they're going to see the professional production of / read through of my musical, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. And Stephen Sondheim, the guy who's made every musical, every one in Broadway, absolutely loves my work. And he has this conversation with his agent, and the agent's like, it was absolutely amazing. This was absolutely lovely. Everyone loved it. Everyone thought it was amazing. And Jonathan Larson is like, okay, so who's buying it? And the agent was like, oh, no one's buying it. Everyone just thought it was amazing. And he's like, I spent 6 years of my life doing this entire thing. I spent all of my money. I spent everything doing this. Now what am I supposed to do? And the agent looks at him and goes, well, you create the next thing.
Yeah.
And I was watching this over Christmas like 3 years ago, and I was crying, and my wife was the only one that understood why I was crying.
That's good.
Was it Orson Welles who said, when he accepted his honorary, I think, Oscar, and he said, it's great to be deemed a genius, but nobody will work with you.
Yeah.
Nobody will buy his stuff or anything. So, getting back to the question though, Raphael, what are your thoughts on Marcus's question?
Man, I'm nowhere close to you guys, man. I'm still learning. I'm in the baby stages. I'm trying to absorb as much as I can from everybody I talk to. My question to you guys, I'm sorry to change the subject, I'm like dealing with shipping. I heard Tom talking about setting days for all that kind of stuff. When y'all ship, do y'all ship yourselves? Do y'all have a third party to do it for you guys through like a comic book printing company? What's
I do everything myself.
Do everything myself. Win or lose. If I take a long time, if I fuck it up, I would rather people be able to get in contact with me and me make it right than be subject to what someone else's did. Like I tried that in the past, just like what Tom was mentioned. Every time I try to like pivot and get something off of my shoulders, it just ends up blowing up in my face like a hand grenade. So at this point, the safest hands are my own, even if they're a bit shaky sometimes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's a website called Pirate Ship. You can try them.
Yeah, I use them, but I'm saying like somebody was saying about a company you can hire
Oh yeah.
Well, there
Yeah,
are fulfillment companies certainly, and there
Right.
are printers who will fulfill for you as well. I
Right.
mean, it's just all
Right.
in-house, But
Right.
the only thing I would say there is just two things. Number one is you got to make sure it's done right, even
Right.
within that capacity. And two, it's going to cost you money. So you have to figure out. Now, there's always the saying that time is money, right? So if it costs you $1,000 to do it, did you get $1,000 worth of time back to do something else? And if so, then okay, you can talk about that. But if you're paying $1,000 and it's not alleviating anything for you to that capacity, then you need to kind of bring it back in and be like, well, let me do it myself until I can, make use of that time.
That's the
And
key.
sometimes there's things that you do in the structure of your campaign and what you're doing too.
Right.
Because I know a lot of things for me is like when I was like really opening up our catalog and letting everybody get all these sort of things, it was tremendous pain in the ass to get all the shipping together for it. Because it's great funding wise. It's like everybody, it sends your average backer level quite a bit. But sometimes you have to be a little bit more curated in how you do things and how you want to approach it, and even how you do some of the extras and stuff like that. So a lot of it now, I've gotten away from doing like a ton of add-ons and stuff like that. If we have small things like the prints and stickers and stuff like that, they're part of like stretch goals or additionals, so that they go in every single package that I'm doing. I just turn my brain off. I know every single package needs one of those things. So it's just a matter of what comic books that people are getting and packing those together. That leans out so much of all the assembly part, because that what it comes down to most is getting the stuff together and packaging it to ship it out. So like I think in the campaign for Iberian, where we kept it very lean and focused like that, aside from the books that I'm waiting on right now to show up, it was like one day knocked out the whole campaign. So yeah, once you start putting those things in, really start learning the efficiencies you can do, then that helps out a lot when it comes to fulfilling everything by yourself.
I guess I'm still loving it because I'm still new. I'm still loving the whole packaging,
you'll hate it eventually.
Eventually when your hands dry out and the paper cuts.
Once you hate it, Raphael, then you're in the right box. You've made it to a point where it's like, this is
everybody's
awful.
like, I love a big campaign, I love a 5-figure campaign until it's time to ship those motherfuckers out.
Some of the older guys I talk to, like, you're gonna wind up hating it, man. And those guys, some of the guys are like, well, that's a good thing. We want you to hate it because that means you're accomplishing what you want.
That's right.
And there was suffering from success.
My biggest campaign, we had over 600 backers. We had 16 stretch goals unlocked. And every time I built a fucking package and I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, I was like, this is some bullshit right here. So yeah, it's harsh, but when you can say, hey, look, I was at 100 backers. Now I'm at 200 backers. Now I'm at 300 backers. That's the part that you love. That's the part where you go, you know what? This is hard work, but look at what's happening and look at how many people are here for what I'm doing. And that's where you sort of can balance this is shit, but look at how many people want what I'm doing, and that's awesome.
That's what made me realize and try to like look at it a different way. I broke it down by how many average comic books were in one of the campaigns that I was fulfilling, and like the average order had like 4.5 comics in it or something.
Right. I'll tell you the part that really I started to really like is because we have so much back catalog now, trade paperbacks and stuff. So what I really do love it. I mean, it's great when somebody comes in and like, well, I want to buy that new book. Here it is. Here's your book, out the door. But when I get backers that are like, yes, I want that new book, but I also want those 3 trade paperbacks because I want to see what else you do. That's when you've got people, because those are, especially when they're buying trade paperbacks, those are readers that want to know, hey, what is it that you're writing? Because I want to read this stuff. Because
nobody paperbacks are not idly. The price point is like, those aren't people that's going to have it and stick around. Like, I know, because I'm a trade buyer. When I buy trades, those are the first things I'm reading when I come home.
So that I always like. It's like, okay, what does this guy got? Variant, 2 variants, variant, and 3 trades. Like, whoa, I like that guy. That guy's buying into what we're doing. That's always a good feeling too.
Right. Awesome.
Cool. So I guess I'll answer the question real quick. Limitations. I don't have any. No, joking. Just it's always the same thing with me. It's marketing. It's always marketing. That's usually my biggest limitation. Is just you know, one, don't like doing it, and I'd rather just focus on work. And that's usually my biggest thing. Is just like, all right, well, if I have to sacrifice something, it's not going to be the work. I'm going to sacrifice the marketing. And it's because, I'm in the opposite direction of Tom. Tom makes a living off of it. This is my hobby. This is my very expensive hobby. I make enough to keep it running, right? And I'm good with that. I don't need the money to keep my lights on, so I can, whatever funds I get from it, I can just store right back to my artists and I can just keep it chugging, because in the end, like I said, when it was about me, it's about me. And that's just how it works for me. So.
And sometimes I think too, it's like as you do things more, and that's the one thing I'll say, Raphael, as you're looking to grow more and do things like that, it does become necessary based on like what you do to try to like expand out a little bit. Because I know for me, and where I want to take Odyssey Paradox is more about really bringing in these books that feel curated and they feel like, oh man, they really spent time on this. They really put this together and made it something special. And they found this artist who knows somewhere, who had never maybe done anything, and gave them a platform and stuff like that. And sometimes that's hard to do when you're just like one person. So like for me, I got, we're a staff of like 4 people right now. I also have my assistant director, who's basically, she's like my clone of me in London, who is doing that. So she's, she goes thought bubble for me, like for the teams that are in the UK based there. She does the editorial stuff and all that, and like checks in with me. But like it's hard. You have to sort of clue in on people and have that level of trust and have that thing, because I think that's the thing, is like when we come into this industry, and I say this for indie comics and comics in general, there's helpers everywhere, and there's always people who are willing to share knowledge with you and things like that. But when you need true partners and true collaborators, that's much, much, much more difficult. And you think from how everyone speaks and does everything that wouldn't be the case, but it's not. You will run into those situations where you trust someone and maybe they screw you over, or they don't do what you need to. And sometimes it's a gap. That's what's tough about this part of the industry for us. It's like a painter just has to paint and put it in a gallery. Like they don't need someone assisting them with like the painting and everything like that. But as comic creators, even though it can be insular, even if you're doing everything front to back yourself, you're going to come to the point where you're going to need some help, like a little bit, one way or another. And by God, if you could find anybody who you can do that reliably with, and you are harmonized and on the same page with them, and it's working out, you hang on to them for dear life. Go and do everything you can to like foster that relationship.
Hell yeah.
Because if it goes away or fails or something happens, like it is not easy to replace those people. It is not easy to build a team and bringing it to the fold. Like you could do it from a creative standpoint. Like I said, someone could give me an outline. I could make you a fucking comic book that's really nice in like 30, 40 days, have it ready to go. But in terms of like the operational side of things, that's way, way tougher. And that's something I'm still trying to figure out.
Awesome.
All right. Before we close this out, I just wanted to say Jack had to go early because he had babies to take care of.
Yeah.
Jay had to leave early because, he didn't want to admit that he was a huge Mets fan. And, he wanted to switch over into that T-shirt and whatever. And, he was not ready to come out. So I'm just saying. So, Tom, where can they find you and your work, sir?
BigDogInk.com, guys. Get books, get ready. 15-year anniversary starts in January. We do Critter number 25, ends up volume 6, and then we do Penny for Your Soul a couple of times next year. We do our shark book. It's only an island if you look at it from the water. Final issue of Goth Day. We're going to do our first ever omnibus next year for The Legend of Oz, The Wicked West. And then we'll wrap up next year with the BD15 anthology in October with a horror theme for all 3 of the stories.
Cool. Right, cool. Grant, where can they find you and your work, sir?
I'm on comicsburg.com. Grant Lankard is a very uncommon name. So you can just search for Grant Lankard on any of the major social media platforms except for Twitter, because Screw Twitter. Yeah, but I'm active on Facebook and Instagram, and a little bit less active on what's the new one?
Blue Sky?
Not Blue Sky, the Threads.
Threads. Gotcha. All right, cool. Raphael, where can they find you in your work, sir?
All right, awesome. So starcrosscomics.com. We have issue 1 and 2 live on Kickstarter right now. We got the Atreidian Justice, Sword of Justice Knights guidebook and one shot. TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, unfortunately, a little bit on Instagram, pretty much anywhere you can look. Look up Atreidian and you'll find him.
All right, cool. Mr. Marcus, where can they find you, sir?
OdysseyComics.com, simple enough. Then you can find us on all the social apps. I'll probably be making us a Blue Sky account pretty soon. And we just joined TikTok and have got a lot of followers coming in already. So hit us up there too. We'll be doing some more videos of like our content and stuff like that, so people can get a look at what goes into.
Nobody cares about TikTok unless you're dancing, Marcus. Dancing.
Oh, I'm going to be booty popping all over the place, Tom. So don't.
Then you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Only fans to follow.
Yes. Listen,
Hey guys,
gotta do what we gotta do around it.
Can I shoot something out real quick, JD? I'm working on a special project with a bunch of other collaborators. It's already on Instagram called Henosis Authority. It's going to be an amazing thing, hopefully in the next 2 years. So look out for that one. That's also going to be a great deal. Henosis Authority. That's coming out.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
And I'm JD Calderon. So you can find me on the OswaldChronicles.com, TallTalesOnline.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those different places. DeviantArt. Here just about every Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday. I guess maybe hopefully Jay will have a full charge on his phone so he can last the whole show. People are just so irresponsible, right?
Start a GoFundMe to get him a charger. Like, what's going on?
Seriously, like, how hard is it to just plug it in as it's going?
Like that.
Exactly. Or just have one of those things where you sit it on, it charges automatically, like the little magnet thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. You can't talk to these people. Okay. But please,
Mets fans, what are you going to do?
Yeah, please, everybody, go check out the show notes. Everybody's links are in those show notes. These creators, they all deserve your support. They're all doing fantastic work. So go check them out, please. Click on those links. Buy those books. Go check them out. These guys are all doing fantastic comic books. So please go check them out. Thank you so much, everybody. And just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night.
Later, guys.